Hi chameleons, I hope you are all doing well and having a fantastic week. Now we're going to continue with our Danger Gang book today. Now we have just read the chapter where they went swimming and one of the children who lives in Eric's street couldn't swim, and then all of a sudden he turned into a shark and won a swimming race. And there was a familiar flash of green lightning like he saw in the lightning storm that nobody can now remember. So we're going to move on to the next chapter, which is now May, so another month later, and I've just skimmed over the first line and I'm very intrigued. Danny, you are not going to believe this, but it happened again. If you thought Eric Flipperson turned into a shark was freaky, then wait until you hear this. Things have been getting weirder and freaky, believe it or not. Remember I told you that kids on my street were coming to my treehouse for a meeting? Well, it was pretty cramped. There was Eric Flipperson, Katie Speck, Charlie Campbell, Monty McClear, Susie Prune and Jamelia Pointer. And me. In fact, all the kids from my class who live on my street were there, except Ronnie Nutbolt, obviously. We huddled inside and ran some tests on Eric. What sort of tests? Eric asked nervously as I opened Mum's lab kit that I'd borrowed. Don't worry, it won't hurt, trust me, my mum's a scientist. I said, first we need to come up with We need to come up with a hypothesis. Firstly, we need to come up with a hypothesis. They all blinked at me, and I suddenly knew how Miss Tinky must feel when she reads us in French. A hypothesis? Asked Charlie. A hypothesis. It's when you come up with a possible explanation for something happening, and then you do experiments to test whether you're right, I told them. So we need to try and think of an explanation for Eric turning into a shark this afternoon. All right, so what's your hyposaurus? Asked Kitty, which made everyone giggle. It was so funny. Although I guess she had to be there. Well, have you ever been bitten by a radioactive shark? I asked Eric. What? No, of course I haven't, said Eric. Okay, just need to check the most obvious explanation first, I replied. Hey, Frankie, have you got any snacks? I'm starving, Susie asked, looking around the treehouse. I've got some cocoa toffee chew bars hidden under that plank of wood, and if you're thirsty, there's a rainwater tap, I said, showing them the newly installed hydration system that collects rain in a bucket on the roof and filters it into old drinking bottles. I guess I learned from watching my mum, I shrugged. I haven't got the water flow quite right yet though, so don't unscrew it all the way but it was too late. Susie had twisted the bottle top all the way open and a jet of water blasted across the treehouse, spraying everyone, including Eric. There was a weird flicker of green light and, well, you probably guess what happened. And that's how we discovered that Eric Flipperson turns into a shark every time he touches water. Luckily, because Eric wasn't totally soaked through this time, like he had been in the school pool, he wasn't a shark for very long, and after a few seconds he changed back. Plus, this time we seemed to understand what was going on a little bit more, so none of us had got bitten. Everyone helped me patch up the shark damage in the treehouse before they went home, and we made a promise never to tell anyone what happened there. As we climbed down the ladder, my copy of Zack Danger and the Danger Gang slipped out of my back pocket and landed on the grass. What's this? Eric said, picking it up. Oh, it's just the book I'm reading, I said, hopping down from the rope ladder. That's not just a book. It's Zack Danger, Charlie exclaimed. I love those books. I grinned. Me too. So what's so good about them then? Eric asked. So I filled them in on how he's the coolest super spy ever, and his life is basically one dangerous mission. And in all the books he has a top secret gang of super spies who work together to overcome any danger that comes their way, added Charlie. He really knows his stuff. Eric smirked. I bet this Zack Danger guy never had a mate who turned into a shark. Me and Charlie suddenly looked at each other for a second. I'm pretty sure we were both thinking the exact same thing, and you totally would have done too if you'd been there. Eric's right, I whispered excitedly as the idea was forming in my brain, so fast I could hardly keep up. We're staring into danger every time we're with him, right? Right, everyone said. And we all just work together in a secret to get to the bottom of this dangerous case, right? Right, they agreed. Don't you see what that means? We are the real Danger Gang, I cheered. Everyone looked at each other with excited grins on their faces. If we were in a movie, our epic theme song totally would have started to play in the background right then as the new Danger Gang was born. Okay, so I know I'm breaking the promise never to talk about what happened in the treehouse by writing this down, but we both know that you'd be in the new Danger Gang too if you were here, so technically I think we're just fine. Don't tell anyone, okay? We're still testing exactly how much water is needed to set Eric off, but the other day it rained in the morning break time, and before I knew it there was a shark marooned in the playground, and we all had to spend the rest of the break time trying to dry him off with our coats and jumpers. Luckily he turned back into a boy before it was time to get to the class, so no teachers saw. It was the same on a rainy Wednesday the next weird thing happened. Picture this. We were in maths. Snore. And Miss Tinky decided to surprise with us a big test. Boom, a maths test. The worst thing about Miss Tinky's tests is they aren't written down. She makes us stand up one by one and answer a maths question out loud in front of the class. It's embarrassing with a capital M. It gets worse though. If you answer the question correctly, you sit down and she moves on to the next victim. But if you get it wrong, you have to stay standing up and answer another question. And if you get that wrong, another one, and another one, until you finally get one right. But by that point, you're red and sweaty and your legs feel wobbly like the extra cheese on a pizza. Now, luckily, having a scientist from Mum, my maths is pretty decent. I'm no Susie Prune, she's amazing at maths, but I can handle myself in a surprise maths quiz and not break too much of a sweat. But there's one kid in our class who never gets a single question on the quizzes, Molly McClear. Molly's one of those kids who lives on my street at number 19 and comes to hang out in the greenhouse, and is a member of the Danger Gang. I don't think I'm ever going to get bored of saying that. Plus, we all walked to school together ever since what happened to Eric. Molly's the quietest out of all of us. In fact, she's the quietest kid in class. She hardly says anything, but always has a big smile on her face that shows off her amazing braces. She's got orange ones. Sometimes she's so quiet, though, that it's not like she's there at all. She'd make a great ninja. Ronnie Nutbutt got called up to answer a maths question first. I used all of my mind powers to try to push his thoughts out of his brain so he'd get the wrong question. My powers were proved useless though when Mrs. Tinky wrote 3 times 6 on the whiteboard and I saw Ronnie fiddling around in his jacket pocket and realised he had a calculator hidden inside it. Ronnie got the answer right, obviously, and Jamelia told Miss Tinky about the calculator in his pocket, but he said that he never used it and it was just there in case somebody needs to borrow it. And Miss Tinky believed him. I can't believe she falls for it every time. Maybe her glasses aren't strong enough for her to see the obvious face of a big, stinky liar. Next she called my name and she turned around and wrote 8 times 4 on the board. Ronnie threw something at me. I caught it only to discover that it was his calculator. Frankie Brown, I will not tolerate cheating, Miss Tinky snapped at me. She gave me another sad face sticker on the chart before confiscating the calculator. I was so cross. I sat down and just started using my mind powers to make Ronnie Nutbolt wee his pants. I think I got pretty close. And Miss Tinky called Molly up next. Everyone turned to look at Molly. She already had giggly eyes, knowing that this was going to suck as this. Our gang tried to help her, but there's only so much a thumbs up across the classroom can do. She flashed everyone a brave, orange-braced smile, but I saw her lip trembling and was a bit nervous. 5 times 6, Miss Tinky wrote on the board. Molly was silent. The room was silent. Maybe even the whole of planet Earth was silent, waiting for her to answer. Molly, do you know the answer? Miss Tinky said. Molly shook her head. Then I saw Ronnie secretly hold up a little note in front of Molly with the answer scribbled on it. I was pretty surprised. Maybe I got the wrong idea about Ronnie, I thought. Maybe he isn't that bad after all. Molly glanced at it and said, 8? The whole room cracked up laughing. Well, everyone except the kids who'd been secretly meeting in the Danger Gang, obviously, because we don't laugh at each other. We only laugh in the face of danger. Ronnie had given her the wrong answer. Try this one, Miss Tinky said. She wrote 2 times 3. Molly thought about it for a while, but she simply couldn't do it. Not under the pressure of those eyeballs watching her. Then Ronnie held up another little note and made a cross over his heart to show this really was the right answer. 40? Molly chimed. The other kids erupted into giggles again at another wrong answer. I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. If I could, I would have used my mind powers to put the answer in her brain, but my 2 unsuccessful attempts with Ronnie had left me doubting my abilities, so I thought it was best not to meddle with a mind maths test. Try one more. It's a nice easy one, Molly, said Miss Tinky. 10 times 3. Molly was silent. She obviously wasn't born with a brain that was meant to do maths. Any ideas? Miss Tinky asked. Molly shook her head. Her smile was nowhere to be seen. From the look on her face, I could tell she was wishing that she could just vanish into thin air. That was when it happened. The light bulbs in the classroom suddenly flickered and grew brighter and brighter and brighter until, smash, they exploded with a flash of green. My heart skipped a beat. In the distant and familiar colours, it was the very same green as the lightning and the storm and the water in the pool. So I had the feeling something freaky might happen. My eyes dashed around the room and I looked at Eric. He'd seen the flash too, and I could tell he was thinking what I was thinking. I suddenly wished I'd told him my catchphrase so we could both say it together, so I made a mental note to bring it up at the next meet in the Danger Gang before I whispered, "It's danger time," to myself. And I was right. So we'll have to find out what happens with this flash of green. I hope you're all doing well, guys, and staying safe, and I hope you get to see you very, very soon. Bye.